I feel like it's been quite some time since I've done one of these health updates, and so I thought I would just fill everybody in on what's been going on. I think the last video I was in the middle of IVF, so I was going into my second week. I was definitely feeling really exhausted from all the hormones, bloated, just like not my best self. And then that coming up week, I actually had my egg retrieval on Thursday. In my head, I thought that after the egg retrieval, like all of my symptoms were gonna be gone. I was gonna feel, relieved. And I was very wrong. I have never gotten so sick in my entire life. I was miserable. I just felt absolutely awful. I couldn't hold down food, water. It got to the point where like I was so dehydrated from throwing up that I had to go get an IV. Getting an IV 2 days in a row, those really helped bring me back to life and kind of start my recovery, but it was so gnarly. I know a lot of it also is dependent on how many eggs they get, and they did get 25 eggs. They were able to fertilize 14 of them, and then 9 of them made it to like the cryoblast or whatever. So 9 are getting genetically tested right now, and this time next week we should know how many are viable for once we're ready for implantation. So that is super exciting. Really glad to be pretty much fully recovered now. Very, very relieved that that's done with. Another update is we are no longer removing the lymph node in my neck. I guess that's not even the normal protocol anyways. And so the chemo will take care of it. It'll go away. That brings me to what's next on the agenda, which is starting chemo. That is very strange to say, but chemo starts Monday, December 16th. How it's gonna work is I will do 2 months, so 4 treatments, repeat my PET scan. My oncologist believes at that point I should be cancer free. So I'm just so excited for that. And then based on my PET scan, as of right now, it's set up so that I'll do another 2 months, another 4 treatments of chemo, but he said we can talk about possibly just doing 1 more month. So 2 more treatments of chemo after my PET scan. It's all just gonna be dependent on that. So crazy. I feel like I've definitely been a little emotional once we have that like start date for chemo. It just feels so surreal that that's gonna be on my schedule for the next 4 months. Oncologist just really believes that I should be feeling fine during treatment. He thinks if anything, I'll just get tired towards the end. So that is the hope. Even at that, we're gonna be doing everything we can to just try and keep my energy up and have me feeling my best. Obviously, if I need to rest, I will do so. That's where we're at. It's so crazy that now it's go time. So definitely feeling ready to kick this thing's butt, have this be done in the past. Another thing is I think Caleb and I are constantly being reminded how much God is in this process with us and how he's gonna get us through this process. I originally wasn't even supposed to see my oncologist for our first consultation, 11/21, and they were like, if anybody, cancels, we can call you, but, obviously who's gonna cancel an oncology appointment? And then we got a call the next day and it got moved up to 11/6. And so after seeing him, he referred us to the infertility specialist about a week later. And then that timing was just perfect because when you start IVF, you have to start during a cycle. And I was 2 days into mine. He said was perfect and they could work with. And so that ended up working out really well because if we had to wait those few weeks until the 21st and then wait, however long to get in to see the fertility specialist, it would have been way too late because their labs closed 12/13. And so at that point, my next cycle wouldn't have even had started yet. And we wouldn't have had time to go through the process to do IVF if we didn't get in literally right when we were supposed to. So as much as I was freaking out and like scared to have to start right away, in the thick of it, it was really hard to see that. But now that we're done, it's like, oh, like everything was working out for the best. And even as sick as I got from the egg retrieval, and it's the worst I've ever been sick in my entire life, and that I'm grateful for because the IVF place ended up referring us to see a hydration place so that I can get an IV and start recovering. Turns out that the owner of the hydration place's mom went through chemo for Hodgkin's lymphoma, and then she said she was able to help her mom with IVs like every other week to make sure like she was feeling her best, her energy levels are up. And it was just like, what are the, like, if I never got sick, we would have never met Jen and like that door would have never opened up. And it's just crazy to see how God's been like moving and working in this for us. After I posted that we went to that hydration place, it turns out that Jen has been friends with my aunt since like high school. So they've known each other for like 30 years. So yeah, it's just crazy to see those things in hindsight. And we are so, so, so thankful that he's with us and gonna get us through this. The last thing, again, thank you guys so much to anybody who shared or donated to the GoFundMe. It has been such a huge help. We can't even like put into words how grateful we are. That is where we're at. I probably won't do another update till maybe once I start chemo. My goal is to start doing weekly updates again as I'm going through chemo, just because I feel like those videos have been really helpful for me to kind of see other people's experience and how they're feeling, and like any tips they have on how to get through it or like feel their best. And so if I can be a light or helpful to somebody else that's been recently diagnosed or, you know, is nervous about starting whatever it is, like I definitely want to do that. So that will be my goal. Again, I'm going to take it, you know, week by week, see how I'm feeling, but we're believing that I'm going to be feeling, you know, as good as I can. So